It's normal to see grave sites scattered around the villages and rice fields of Vietnam. But in this area, there's a common date etched on them, the 16th of March 1968. That's when most people who lived in the village of My Lai were killed, some of them raped and tortured first in a 4-hour assault by US soldiers during the Vietnam War. Pham Tan Kong was 11 at the time and among the few who survived. When the soldiers opened fire on his family, he was shielded by the bodies of his mother and 4 siblings.
The soldiers killed people in the rice fields and on the roads first. Then they came to every house and killed everyone. They killed every person and every animal they saw. Then they burned the houses.
Believing there were enemy soldiers in My Lai, the Americans were told to kill everyone. 504 unarmed men, women and children were murdered. The main site is now a park and museum where people come to learn about a massacre that was covered up by the US for more than a year.
People come here to remember the massacre, but it's not about holding on to bad feelings. It's a reminder to the world that the war was bad and together we must maintain peace.
Just one US soldier was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison, but later had his sentence commuted. The massacre and other similar incidents helped galvanize the anti-war movement in the United States and turn more Vietnamese against the American soldiers. Today, of course, the Vietnamese haven't forgotten the war, but for most, there is a sense of moving on. Relations between the two countries have steadily improved to the point where they see strategic and economic benefits of being on the same side. Last week saw the largest US military presence in Vietnam since the war, as the Navy visited the city of Da Nang and took part in several community events. But moving on is not so easy for those who survived one of the most horrific acts of the war.
Vietnamese are forgiving, but the local people here will always retain some hatred for the American soldiers who had no humanity that day in committing a massacre that left us homeless and with a lonely life.
Today, the fields around My Lai are peaceful, just as they were before the US helicopters landed 50 years ago. But for survivors of that darkest of days, the serenity will never be able to erase the memories. Wayne Hay, Al Jazeera, My Lai, Vietnam.